Are you interested in making more money? Of course you are. You're probably in sales like me, and the first thing that may come to your mind is, wow, this guy is totally clickbaity. I promise you I'm actually going to share something of value that may put you in a position to make more money in your sales job. We're going to talk about moneyball metrics and the different indicators you can look at so that you can use a more analytical approach to know what skills can you improve upon and how can you go out and perform better so that you can make more money. I'm going to show you guys that approach today. We're going to break it down. It's a little difficult to use analytics at first because you're going to quickly identify what you're not good at, and it's going to blatantly be very obvious what you can improve upon because the numbers do not lie. But believe me, you cannot improve what you cannot measure, and that is why this is so important, and you're going to want to stick with me for the whole video because I have something for you guys at the very end that you're not going to want to miss. Next, thank you guys so much for the support. We just reached 400 subscribers on the channel. Your guys' support means everything to me. So many of you have reached out on LinkedIn asking for video ideas or asking thoughts or ideas or advice or just saying nice job. Really appreciate everything. Love hearing from you guys in the comments and on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me. And while you're at it, make sure to hit that like button. It's completely for free. And subscribe as well if you're enjoying the content. Now let's get into it, guys, and go into the computer now. Okay, guys, we have now entered the matrix, aka my computer, aka this spreadsheet I just put together that I think is going to bring you a lot of value. So these are your sales moneyball metrics, guys. It probably will vary based on company, but these seem to me very industry standard. We're going to walk through what they mean right now. So the first rate is answer rate. This is the frequency at which the prospect answers your cold call. The next most important metric is your set rate. Of the live conversations that you have, this is the frequency at which you set up a subsequent meeting. Show rate. Of the meetings you set, the show rate is the frequency at which the prospect actually shows up to your meeting. Very important. And finally, conversion rate. Of the completed meetings in which your prospect actually shows, this is the frequency at which the meeting is qualified into real or qualified pipeline, which is important because you don't want to have meetings that aren't legit or aren't actually good. So the industry standard of these different rates, and we're going to break down this little nifty calculation right here, Excel wizard. So your answer rate should be around 8%. Initially, my company had it at 10%, and for outbound, that's just not realistic in my opinion. So we're going to go with 8%. Set rate should be around 15%. This is going to be pretty hard to achieve, especially if you're making volume calls like I am. Show rate should be around 70%. I think this is one of the more attainable metrics to improve upon and get up and high. Finally, conversion rate should be around 90%. We don't want to have all these meetings that don't convert because that's a waste of your time, your account executive's time, your company's time, the prospect's time, everyone's time. Finally, this is the calculation that you guys have all been waiting for. This is dynamic, so we can change it. So right now in our model, we have 1,000 calls. We can change it to 100, and we can see how it changes. Let's do 1,000 just because it's a little bit simpler to look at and makes people feel a little bit better. So put it in perspective, this is how hard sales is and how much rejection you're gonna face. And it's nice to look at it in a model because the numbers do not lie and it's a cold figure of what to expect assuming you're average. Most of you who are watching are above average, so I'm sure you're gonna do a lot better than this. But if you're industry average, this is what it's gonna take. Let's say you make 1,000 cold calls. Okay, let's say you do 1,000 cold calls in the month of October right now. Assuming your answer rate's 8%, you're going to get 80 live conversations. Assuming your set rate's around 15%, of those 80 conversations, you're going to set up 12 meetings. Of those 12 meetings you set, assuming your show rate's around 70%, you're going to have about 8.4 completed meetings. And of those 8.4 completed meetings, if your conversion rate is around 90%, you're going to convert about 7.56 of those meetings into qualified pipeline. So what does that mean, guys? So we started with 1,000 calls and we're going to end up with 7.56 qualified meetings. And of those meetings, the close rate of the deal may be like 20, 25%, maybe higher, maybe lower, depending on the source. This just puts into perspective how much rejection you're going to face, how relentless you have to be in your approach, reaching out to new people, finding new people to call. So how do we increase expected qualified meetings per XXX amount of cold calls. My strategy is this. I'm going to share how to improve each of these, but overall at a high level, the more volume, the more you're going to get. So let's say you're average and you never improve upon these skills. Let's make 150 calls a day. We immediately go up to 1.13. The more volume you make, 1,000. Let's say you make 1,000 calls in a day, 7.56 meetings that convert. The more volume you have, the better. And it's just numbers. It's a plain numbers game. It's like dating. The more people you ask out, the more people that'll eventually say yes. Same thing in sales. Next, become more efficient with your Moneyball metrics. How do you do that? We're going to break that down right now. If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to like below. And I also have a weekly sales newsletter called Quarter Life Sales. I'm going to send this graph out, so make sure to subscribe to that if you want this graph. Next, how to improve answer rate. I've found the best times to call are 7:30 to 9 a.m. local time and 3:30 to 5 p.m. local time. So this means waking up early, making calls as soon as you start, and then at the end of the day when you're tired and want to stop working, making more calls. That's just what it takes. You can make calls at any time and you can always have success, but these are the times I've found to have optimal success, and you can do other stuff throughout the day, find new people to call, et cetera, et cetera. I would start calling at those times. Trust me. Next, of the people you're calling, verify that that prospect is still at X company using said tools available to you. So me personally, I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator and Zoom Info. I confirm the prospect is still at the company, and I can confirm that their email address, I have a right one, and that I still have a direct line. If you don't have both of these, the chances of you calling a real person or a legit person goes down. So therefore your answer rate goes down. Therefore everything trickles down, and it's just going to be a waste of your time. So make sure you're calling the right people. Next, how do we improve set rate? This one's really important, so I made an entire video of it that I'm going to link in the description below. Essentially, how to nail the first 30 seconds of a cold call. I have a live cold call in there. Make sure to check that video out next. It's in the description below. A lot of positive feedback on that video. You're not going to want to miss that. Finally, how to improve show rate. So this one, guys, I think you can immediately go out and improve today by watching this video. So of the meetings you set, always send a reminder email the day before the meeting. This is crucial. And anytime you reach out to a prospect, even if you haven't met with them yet, make sure to add value to those touch points. So I'll send out an email the day before with my Zoom link in it. I'll say, here's a brief agenda. Join the Zoom link at this time. Here's an article that I think is relevant to you. If you're a prospect and you see that, you're showing up. You're showing up to the meeting. Come on now. And even if you're an SDR, here's a big pro tip. CC your AE, account executive, on there so they see that, so they like you more and they feel more connected. Something to try out. Next, after a prospect agrees to your meeting on the cold call, try and set a verbal contract confirming their email. So when they agree to the meeting, say, hey, is the best email to reach you graylevine@sumologic.com. Make sure to confirm that so that they think, okay, they're actually going to send me a counter invite. And next, set a brief agenda on that cold call. Say, during that meeting, we expect to do XXX. Set a verbal contract. Does that sound good with you? So they'll be more likely to show up. At last, how do we improve conversion rate? And this is the $1 million question. This is what people are paid to work on and try and do every day. Make sure you are calling qualified buyer personas of your product. So before you even set the meeting, make sure you're calling, and this comes back to calling the right people. And if you're calling the right people, it's likely going to lead in a better quality meeting. So understand your product, the value prop, the buyer personas, and make sure you're reaching out to the correct people. Me personally, this is what I try and do. Try and speak with director or above. I'm sure your product, it will vary depending on what you're trying to sell, but I sell to HR leaders, so I prefer director and above. I'll always take a meeting with a manager or even a HR generalist, but try and get those higher level people because that typically will be higher up on the value chain and you'll be closer to those decision makers. Next, do research on the company before the call. Know how they make money, know what industry they're in. Try and bring industry examples of similar customer use cases. The more value you can bring in that initial call, the more you know about them, the more time you can save asking them that, and you can make assumptions based on what you've seen in similar industries. And the last point is here, show up with a plan. Know what your expected outcome is. Before you go into that meeting, say, do I want to set up a demo after this? Do I want to do more discovery? Do I want them to buy my product immediately? What do I want as the expected outcome? Maybe write down some questions and think about that before your call, and that will put you in a position to hopefully convert to that scheduled next event. Okay, we're gonna jump back to the camera, guys. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, thanks so much for sticking with me. Your support means the world to me. I make these videos for you guys, so I hope that this is adding value. I know I said I had something special for you guys, and what I have to say is congratulations, because by watching this, you got better today. By taking a more analytical approach, you will begin to understand where are your blind spots, where are your weaknesses, and how can you improve, get better, make more money, perform better, get promotions. At least that's what I've tried to do. It's worked to this point through the SDR organization. Now I'm an account executive, so there's new challenges, new Moneyball metrics in the middle and bottom of the funnel that we will uncover and work on. But if you're doing top of the funnel activities, look at these metrics, study them, know what your metrics are, start calculating them, start doing that this week, and you will start to notice an impact, I promise you. Let me know in the comments below how I can help you get better, what you want to see. Start a conversation. It helps everyone, especially if you have a question. Love hearing from you guys below and interacting down below. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and go out and get better this week. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.